All right, welcome to Talking Investing. I am Tom, and as always, this is not financial advice. I want to do a Bitcoin and Bitcoin miner update weekend edition. So we're going to go through the big board and see where the Bitcoin miners finished on Friday, and then let's take a look at what Bitcoin is doing over the weekend. Now, we talk about Bitcoin and the Bitcoin miners all the time on this channel. So if that's content you're interested in, please subscribe and hit the notification bell. And if everybody would do us a favor and smash the like button, it helps the channel out a lot. You will see in our pinned comment below a link to our free Discord. So you're welcome to join us over there as well. Let's start out by looking at the Bitcoin miners on Friday afternoon. And again, it's late in the day, Saturday today. I want to see where all the miners ended on Friday because for once it was a very good green day. So here's the Bitcoin miner big board. And again, now we're in the middle of the weekend, so there's no trading until Monday morning again. But you'll see this board is predominantly green. Once again, there is one exception to that, and that is DigiHost. And that was down 2%. And again, I don't see any specific reason for that other than most days we do find one or two outliers on this board. Other than DigiHost, this board is green from top to bottom, and some of these stocks were up huge. So there was a combination of factors. Bitcoin was rallying off of its lows. It hit a low before trading opened on Thursday overnight in the middle of the night. So Thursday and Friday was a nice run up for Bitcoin, which we'll look at on the charts. But in addition to that, the NASDAQ as well as the overall equities market turned around and had a very big day. And in particular, the small cap high growth stocks had a massive bounce across the board. So all these Bitcoin miners fall into that group. They are small cap high growth stocks, and they are a part of a wave of hundreds of stocks that are down 70, 80, 90%. So all of those stocks had outstanding days on Friday, and that's one of the reasons the miner board looks like it does, because really Thursday was a much bigger up day for Bitcoin than Friday was. In fact, when we get to the chart, you'll see Bitcoin kind of eroded a little bit as the day went on. However, the Bitcoin miners held on to the majority of their gains. You'll see CleanSpark up 23%. Some of the newer miners, Stronghold was up 16%. Iris Energy, stock ticker IREN, was up also 16, almost 17%. Cypher was up almost 17%. So a lot of big double-digit moves. And some of the big miners, Marathon was up 12%. Riot was up 9%. Core Scientific was up over 10%. So you can see across the board, this was a very strong day for most of the miners. I really don't see another bad performer other than DigiHost, which was red for whatever reason. Other than that, everything was pretty much 7% up or more. So now, as we talked about, these stocks have been drastically beaten down there. So I'm not going to go through a lot of charts today, but I just want to reiterate, even with this big move to the upside, most of these stocks are sitting very, very near their 52-week low and or their all-time low. So yes, they jumped off of it 8 or 9 or 10%. You know, CleanSpark was up 23%, but that leaves it just in striking distance of its 52-week low. Friday was a good day for the Bitcoin miners, so what I want to do is look at the Bitcoin chart and see if this is something that may turn into a trend and we can start to see a reversal here and have these stocks get on the move, or if we're still in danger of seeing some lower spots in Bitcoin. So let's go to the Bitcoin chart. This is a Bitcoin chart on the 30-minute time frame. So as always, there was an orange line here where Bitcoin was when the equity markets closed on Friday. So you can see we were just over $30,000 when the equity markets in the US closed on Friday. We did run down from there and we bumped along this line, the line at 28,800. This red line goes all the way back to June of 2021. This was the 2021 low on the year. Now, you're not seeing it on a 30-minute time frame, but when we get to a larger time frame, you'll see we actually did take out this low and set a new low this year. However, since we came back above that line, it is holding as support for the time being. So that's a very encouraging sign that will be a little more obvious when we zoom out. You can see over the last 6 or 7 hours, Bitcoin has had a fairly nice push up 2 times. It got all the way up just past where it closed on Friday. So even just as we're talking right now, it just dipped under 30,000. So it's at or about where we closed on Friday, right here in the middle of the weekend. So I'm not so much focused on where it is right now at this minute. The bigger thing to look at is that even on the 30-minute time frame, this line of support held up and was tested dramatically here for several hours, but it did hold, and that was one of our keys coming into this weekend that we talked about. So obviously that's positive and that's good news. Let's zoom out a little bit. This is the line we were talking about at 28,800, and you can see earlier in the week, this was overnight between Wednesday and Thursday. Bitcoin got all the way down to, on this chart, about 25,300, and that number varies from chart to chart, but somewhere in the $25,000 range Bitcoin got to, and very quickly recovered. You'll see in this 4-hour 4-hour candle, it ended up here, but it still did break this line of support. So it broke the line of support at 28,800, which goes back to the summer of 2021. So that was an 18-month low overnight, but we quickly got back above this line. And one of the things we talked about as we struggled here on the line for several hours, remember these are 4-hour candles, so this is a 12-hour window of kind of struggling at this line. We had a couple of goals in mind, one of which was to get back above this line and turn this back into support. It really never turned into resistance. This has been an extremely long line. This has been an 18-month line of support. We did break below it, but the fact that we were able to get back above it within a day and now test it as support is very encouraging. So again, you know, it's very hard to call a bottom, and we could always go test some lower numbers, but this is a very good signal. We got above this line at 28.8. Let's zoom out a little bit more. Okay, this is Bitcoin on the 1-day time frame. This is our old plan Z for zoom out, and you'll see we were in this plan for about 4 months, and we right here, you know, somewhere here at the end of April, we broke out of the bottom of this plan, and that is when we came down and tested this line of support back at 37,000. When we broke to the bottom of this trading range, that was really just breaking under $40,000. So we went down another $15,000 after that, and that was really just a few weeks ago. So if I measure this 1 week period here, right after we broke out to the downside, from May 4th to May 12th, we were from top to bottom, Bitcoin was down almost 37%. So that is a drastic pullback. Now, it's not an unusual pullback in Bitcoin or in cryptocurrency, but it is a very big pullback. So that's why I actually think that was a pretty sufficient pullback, enough to potentially have put in a bottom. The other thing was, and I'm going to zoom in on this, this is the 1,000-day moving average. We had talked about the fact that this was a very long line of support, and over the last 5 years, we've only just dipped below this 2 times. So we were looking for this line to hold on, and even if it didn't, we really, again, for over the last 5 years, even when it didn't hold, we were only below it for a short period of time, and we did not get very far below it. However, I'm going to zoom in and show you both the 1,000-day moving average line and our line at 28,800, which was our line from summer of 2021. On the daily time frame, those lines actually both held, but you really need to zoom in to see it, so let's do that. Okay, so here we are zoomed in. So you'll see these are daily candles. It was this day right here, we candle wick down to around 25,000. But you'll see, if you look at the open and the close on this day, it opened and closed above this line of support. So on the daily time frame, this line of support held even through this day where we bottomed out and kind of flash crashed down to about 25,000. So what I've been saying since my streams on Thursday is that I do feel like we have hit a local bottom. The phrase I've been using is we're at or near the bottom, and now it's really starting to look like, with 3 days of momentum, that maybe this was the bottom, at least for now. We're clearly bouncing along the bottom. I'm going to show you a few other indicators to show you just how extremely oversold we got here. This is the daily RSI, which we were following closely for over a month. And if you remember, for about 1 month starting at the beginning of April, we were under 50, which is neutral on the daily RSI, but we were over 35. And you really got to get under 30 to be considered oversold. So we were in a very, very neutral territory. We could not break out to either direction. And then we finally did on May 5th break out. So now it's been a week now. We broke to the downside. We did get into oversold territory down to about 24. And as we stand here right now, for the very first time since we went into oversold territory, we just went above 30 on the daily RSI. We're at 30.5. Until this closes on the day, we don't know that we'll close there, but there does seem to be a little bit of upward movement. And you can see, again, this really does represent bouncing along the bottom. You can see we twice went down and got into this 25 area. If I look at the RSI for the first time in quite a bit, you'll see we have turned these red candles into, I'll call these either lighter red or pink, whatever you want to call them. So on the histogram, we are moving in the right direction. Again, that is not a bullish signal yet. We're very far from a bullish crossover, but it does seem to be an indicator that we have bounced off the bottom. So again, I'll just keep using the term at or near the bottom, but I'm leaning more towards we've hit our bottom for the time being. Obviously, this is not financial advice, and obviously with cryptocurrency, 1 day could change all of this. We've seen that. We just saw 1 week where Bitcoin went down 37% just a few weeks ago. So again, please remember, this is a very volatile asset. I want to look at one more thing. This is the fear and greed index. We've been talking about this. It was down to 10 yesterday. It was 10 for a few days in a row. And I had mentioned that over the last 2 years, 10 was the lowest that this has gotten. So it actually did today get to 9, and we're about a a half hour away from getting an update. I'm assuming it's going to pop back up a little bit. I think really this was yesterday's number, and I do think, again, this will have bottomed out because 9 is a place we very rarely go. Yes, it has been there before, but for the last 2 years, we've hit 10, I think 6 times, but never gotten below it. So yesterday was really a true low on the extreme fear and greed index. So although this 9 looks like a scary number in single digits, actually I do think, again, I've been saying this is another very strong indicator that we're at or near a bottom. So I'm only going to look at one chart today because there is no trading over the weekend, but I just want to show you where we finished up on Friday because it's basically a very similar situation with all the Bitcoin miners. So I'm not going to say identical, so check your own miner and you know, you can compare that chart to this chart, but I want to go through in general, this is what's going on, and most of these charts look like this. I have 2 lines. So there's a red line that goes back to January 21st. So you can see Riot bounced off of this line for months. This line held all the way until April 22nd, and then Riot broke below this line, which was our 2022 support line. They are all below their 2022 line of support, and they're all bouncing off of what was their new 52-week low over the last few days. So you can see, even though Riot had a nice rebound, up 9% on Friday, it's nowhere near even back to its line of support for 2022. This line up here at $25, this line represents where Riot was trading at when Bitcoin hit $29,000 last year. So that was the low on 2021. So we are now back at the same place, Bitcoin 29,000. Yet Riot is way down here. And you can see that's a 68% pullback from where Riot was the same time almost a year ago when Bitcoin was at the very same price. And that is why I'm saying, in my opinion, all of these Bitcoin miners seem to be oversold, particularly in comparison to points that they were in the past. I'm just going to finish up on the 30-minute time frame. My main point today is I wanted to show that our final line of support here at 28,800 did hold up so far this weekend, and we've bounced off of it quite nicely. I'm looking for that to hold for the rest of the weekend, and if that can hold until Monday, particularly, you know, if we can get over 29 or even hold over $30,000, those would be very good indicators that we may get a little bit of a run here at least. So I'm gonna leave you with those thoughts. We'll be hopeful. Everybody have a great weekend. If you made it this far, thanks so much for watching, and remember to subscribe to the channel and smash the like button, and have a great weekend. We will see you in the next video.